we're back on XP Air with singing sensation Dana Salah,
Hi,
singing and writing
Nasir.
sensation Dana. I don't think we've met before. It's great meeting you for the
So good
first
to
time.
meet you for the first time. Thank you for such a nice intro.
Of course, of course, of course.
When was the first time you heard my music?
I'm about to hear it in about 40 minutes, right after this podcast.
So I'm just gonna give you a warning. I'm
Uh,
in a little bit of a loopy mood.
So I think
I think it's the desert
it's
heat
it's XP. It's the XP effect. It kind
energy.
of brings all that out of what you're doing. Oh, and just to break everyone in on the joke, I've known Dana for years. We produced a lot of music together. She's one
Yep.
of the coolest artists out there. If you haven't checked her out, check her out to start with.
Thank you.
Also, so to start with, كيف حالك? How are you?
I'm good.
What is new?
A lot is new. It's been quite a year. You know, last year around this time at XP, it was my first XP, and it's just such an inspiring environment to be around. And I left and I wrote all of my goals that I wanted to happen for 2024.
Yeah.
And none of them happened. No, maybe one or two.
Fair
I
enough.
said, yani, it wasn't even a goal that I wrote down. It's just like, I just want to perform more this year.
Lovely.
And alhamdulillah, 2024 has been good to me.
Okay.
I moved to Dubai.
Okay.
You know, I was in Amman before that. And I moved to Dubai, which has been great. Met a lot of cool people, did a lot of shows, connected with fans, you know, grew my online and in real life family. Heck, it's just alhamdulillah, it's been
Ooh,
great.
actually, we've noticed because Inti Ya Tali'een went absolutely ballistic.
It
on
did.
Hada,
It did.
And I've also been seeing that you've been like, it's not just that you're performing more around here, you're performing more around the world.
Yeah.
I feel like that's it's interesting. Okay, so when we first started, I remember our first conversation. We were talking about you were coming off of King Deco. You had some major successes. Decided to throw all that behind you, come back and make music in Arabic, which,
Yeah.
dare I say, is a gutsy move.
People thought I was crazy. I actually had, and I didn't know this at the time, I had a song as King Deco,
Yeah.
song called Move That Body that was charting on Billboard,
Mhm.
on the Billboard dance charts. It was like number 25. And, you know, I had plans to release music as King Deco,
Mhm.
but I was just like, Khalas, I want to be back in the Middle East. I got stuck in Michigan during COVID. All of my plans to release music fell through. And I just moved back to the Middle East. And honestly, it was a happy coincidence that I started a career in music in Arabic.
Really? That wasn't the plan.
So I remember this moment like it was yesterday. I don't
Yeah.
think you remember it, but we had just worked on the second song we ever did together, which was Wayno.
Yeah.
And we had finished the melody and the beats, and I knew I had gold in my hands even before there were instruments. Do you remember how long it took for us? It was just a bass line that you absolutely nailed and gibberish. And I knew that song was a good song even at that stage, but I was there and we were like, okay, let's write lyrics. Or maybe it was Harzane actually that this moment happened with. No, it was Harzane actually.
We started with Hamza.
We started with Harzane. And you're like, okay, yalla, let's write lyrics. So I was like, okay, I'm writing lyrics. And you're like, what are you doing? I said, I'm writing lyrics. And you're like, no, we're doing this in Arabic. What? I know. And the thing is, like, when I moved back, if you watch some of those interviews that I did after Wayno came out with like Jordan TV and stuff, my Arabic was not that good.
I can't blame you.
Yeah,
You know,
يعني even Ya Tali'een. So Ya Tali'een basically started as a short cover on Instagram, and I recorded just a small snippet of it, and I posted it when the prisoners in Palestine dug themselves out of prison, because it's a song about women singing these coded songs called tarwidas in front of prison walls. So I just put it out, and if you hear the original like recording of that reel, which ended up being the vocals I used in the one,
final
the final version, I say Ya Tali'een, مش Ya Tali'een. So like my Arabic was really struggling. So the fact that you pushed me to write in Arabic with you
I
for
appreciate
those
that.
first records, it was kind of cool.
Yeah, man, you've always had a vision. I don't remember me pushing anything because it's always been, okay, this is what Dan is aiming
Not
to do.
forcing, but like
Yeah,
support. Yeah, and you were very, no, actually, it was your idea to write it in Arabic. It wasn't mine. That's for sure. But
That's funny as hell.
yeah, it was a good moment.
Okay, cool. I love that. I'm flashing back to that right now. That's awesome. عشان هيك أنا بفكر. What I was thinking about is why I was asking you about the start of your career is because it's very difficult to be an artist in the Arab world. I
Yeah.
feel like to be okay. No, let me rephrase that. It's very difficult to be an artist well in the Arab world. and leaving back a Billboard charting career, your connections, a network, and then coming back here and then having that validated, by being able to
Alhamdulillah.
say, hey, not only am I performing in Arabic on a risky path, but I'm also, it's there's international demand for something like that. That must feel pretty great.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Can I tell you, I'm not somebody who sees the success. Like going back to another moment you and I had at the studio, Levant Studios in Amman. um, I remember you looking at me being like, I don't know how you didn't feel like you were successful as a musician in the West. And I still, until I'm either reading comments or on stage connecting with fans and connecting with real people, I don't feel like a success in any way, which is crazy, right?
Yeah.
But so London, for example, was my first ticketed show. When we sold out, when the line was out the door, when there was people waiting for like an hour and a half after the show to come say hi, that was the moment where I felt like, oh my gosh, one
Good.
Arabic. I'm part, yeah, but I also felt like I'm actually doing something, but I'm also part of something amazing, which is the Arabic music.
That's
I don't want to say industry because
that's
but, yeah.
no, I really believe that. I also what you just said really resonates with me because you guys don't know the studio and most studios, but you're underground in a room with no windows. It's a nice studio, but it's underground in a room with no windows, and you're there talking about a future and what you want to do. And I feel this a lot where like you're completely cut off from the world as you're trying to build something for like 2 or 3 years in the future.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's a little bit difficult to sit down and really evaluate where you are properly. But moments like that must feel surreal because you're suddenly jolted back into life, going like, "Oh wait, like I'll tell you what, like for you, or I mean, like for me, it's a counter, it's a number counter. Oh, this has 10 million views, 20 million views, and you're like, but it's just a number. So seeing the people actually resonate with something like that must be out of this
It's
world.
everything. It's what keeps me going. This woman came to me one day and she said, I'm a cancer survivor, and when I was doing chemo, and I've had friends who've had to go through chemo, and it's not an easy process. She said, I woke up every morning and I played Bueno and I danced in my kitchen. And I was just bawling because actually, like, I don't know if like you caught on to this, but I was actually in a really dark place when we were making all of those songs. Ghazale, Bueno, Dumtak, like all of these happy songs that apparently were bringing people so much joy. I was in a really dark place of self-discovery, figuring out my self-worth and all of these things. But bringing other people joy, it's everything.
Yeah.
It's everything.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
see, I love these conversations because now I'm flashing back to like
These-
because it's also it's really interesting because I do remember because we've talked about it a little bit, and I also it must be people keep talking about challenges and people keep talking about how difficult it is to sort out your plan and commit to it, and mashallah you did, like you're a go-getter to the point where it's frustrating Marlat, and it was like, oh shit, we
Sorry.
gotta stay on with Dana.
You
And
know,
I mean that in the
yeah.
best of ways.
Thank you.
بس because that's the kind of energy that it takes to kind of get you there. But when we say, hey, Dana left and then came back and started something, Dana didn't leave and then come back and accidentally start something. You made it happen. You know what I mean?
I had intention, definitely, and I had a vision for what I wanted my music to be. I came back and I felt like, and we talk about this a lot now with everything that's happening in Palestine. I feel like everyone, when I came back, I noticed everyone in the East valued everything in the West so much. But one thing that Arab Americans have in common, and I was stuck in the heart of Arab America for COVID in Michigan, one thing they have in common is they look at the East and عندهم عشق لبلادهم, to their culture and their traditions, and they're steadfast in holding on to them.
So
And I
real.
had that, and I feel like when I moved back, I'd been incorporating tatriz and Palestinian culture and heritage since my King Deco days. If you go and check out a music video for a song called Read My Lips, you'll find pictures of Nablus in there and like little Easter eggs and stuff. But I feel like when I was doing that, people were like, oh, it's kind of cringy, or like certain beats or whatever. But to me, I was like, this is so dope. And even like the recording of the Tarweed and Ya Tala'in, I'm like, this is a Kanye sample through and through.
That's sweet.
So I feel like I just kind of stuck to my guns with
Okay.
that, even if it meant, I think you and I kind of went to bat with
Oh, we did.
certain,
Yeah.
like Ghazali, were like, I can't work on this song anymore. And I'm like, Farah, please come help me make him finish this record. And like, but you always, one thing you did say was like, you need to have a vision and you need to stick to it no
Yeah.
matter what.
Yeah,
You
and you
always,
did.
so
And
I did it, and it wasn't easy sometimes, and I think it strained some relationships sometimes.
but
Not ours,
not
but
I want
in
to sorry, I want to
general.
jump in on that because that's kind of what I wanted to ask you. It's something that I'm learning 4 years into my own career. You really need to do it yourself,
Mm.
and people will advise, but listen to the best people, but make your own decisions. You clearly did to great effect. And strained relationships are a part of that. Actually, I read a quote literally last night that I saved. That it said, and he said basically, um, if you're what did he say? He said if you're doing something out of any okay, if you're doing something that you don't enjoy and you don't really passionately care about, you'll make cowardly decisions when the time comes. And you didn't, and that's kind of the idea. And you really kind of showed up with something that's strong, that's passionate, that has an identity, and that looks the way you see things. I mean, you were saying, look, in Arab America, they really look towards the east, and but we're not in Arab America. So we don't even see that perspective.
Yeah.
But you're in a room where you're the only one who sees something, everybody else doesn't. But kind of being able to stand up for that is I want to take a certain type of character, but goes back to the question I really wanted to ask. اللي هو you're going any that's the burden you need to carry, but it's also you need to kind of you know do that while carrying the baggage of life in general, because being an artist is only a part of who all of us are. Where do you find the fuel to do that?
You lost me a little bit.
Okay, so we're talking about we're doing Wayno Harzani and a bunch of songs while you're struggling with life issues,
Hmm?
and at the same time, you're the only one who can see what you're aiming for.
What your vision is and what
Exactly.
your
And then you need to carry both those bags on your back and walk with it. And then, alhamdulillah, we're seeing like considerable payoff. But I imagine that was a heavy load.
it was heavy, but it's an interesting perspective because for me, sticking to that path and making the music I wanted to make and having that vision and trying to stick to it, that was my lifeline.
Mm, that's cool.
Like
Yeah.
it wasn't, oh, I need fuel to do this. It was do or die.
Wow.
Sitting in my apartment after, I don't want to say October 7th. I don't want to give
No.
the situation that, seeing what was happening. And, we all went through this. I think we went through this together and like, crying ourselves to sleep at night and being traumatized by the images we were seeing. Ya Tal'in was therapy for me.
Mm.
Writing
Wow.
those verses, and it's really interesting. So um, the verse melody was the only melody I could come up with for those two verses. I initially wanted the English verse to have a melody and the Arabic verse to have a different melody, but that was the only melody I could come up with.
Mhm.
And when people ask me, when did you know you wanted to pursue music? I tell them, before I could speak, before I could walk, my aunt and my mom used to tell me I would watch The Sound of Music. And I would, right before the marionette song came up, the yodeling one, the da 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 da, I would have a fit in my high chair. And when my aunt copies me, it's the most embarrassing thing on earth. But that was خلاص, I was drawn to music. And I played Ya Tal'in early on for somebody, and they're like, oh, this sounds very familiar. This melody sounds like something. And he pulls up the yodeling song. Night I had a dream.
Oh, what?
Isn't that
Oh,
insane?
that's nuts. I hear it
And
now.
I wrote
didn't-
it in my sleep. I wrote the lyrics to the English verse in my sleep, and I wrote the melody in my sleep. And I didn't need fuel to do that. It was energy coming out of me that needed to leave my body.
That's beautiful.
It's
beautiful.
crazy.
And
It's weird.
it's crazy. It's also it kind of gives me another perspective because I'm looking at one thing that I'm trying to do recently is kind of help show people like how difficult it is to do this well because
so hard.
because you need help, you need support. But I'm also kind of in awe at like the artists who I've been watching recently do their thing because they're even with a support system and you're carrying kind of making art, positioning it that way is like, yo, this was my lifeline. Is just it's such a it's a beautiful way to put it, but it also helps really explain kind of like why artists bear that kind of weight because it's not easy. I was talking yesterday to a guitarist. His name is Kiko Loureiro. He's one of the best guitarists in the world, and he was
Where's he
talking
from?
about he's from Brazil and he plays with a band called Megadeth, or he used to, and he was basically talking about the same deal about listen, I was growing up and my parents were saying no, and this is not the right kind of music and it's not accepted, it's not very Christian, and I'm like, oh, okay, we've heard all of those before.
Yeah.
And I'm realizing that it's a shared experience that almost you need to go through, and but when you watch it happen firsthand, it also gives you a new respect for that kind of
It really does. We don't talk about that enough,
thing. No,
right?
we don't.
So being an artist in and of itself, the emotional weight that comes with it and the
Mm,
responsibility is hard. And then trying to make stuff happen for yourself, all
mm,
of that is hard. But then when you add a cultural element where there's a stigma around being a female artist, or at least when I was growing up,
mhm.
having that thrown into the mix and the people you care about kind of judging and, not understanding,
Yeah,
that's makes it even harder.
yeah. That's kind of learning how to negotiate that is such a is set aside character building, but it takes decisions that I can imagine most people can't take easily.
Yeah.
Wow.
Boundaries.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna shift the conversation
Okay.
away from turmoil just because
We
it's,
dug
it's
ourselves into a deep dark hole.
no, it's not a dark hole, but I like people to know what it takes sometimes, especially because at the end of the day, art is a human product. So all people get is either the live show or YouTube or Spotify. This is very difficult to get to know the person behind there or what kind of effort or work was it took for you to actually make that. Sometimes I like to have that in context because it also opens a conversation as to how we can all do it better. Thoughts? You said something at a panel yesterday that I've been thinking about all night,
Okay.
and
Ooh.
it was you said that we are in a very different looking industry than anywhere else in the world. And so things like publishing, things like master rights, and things like, basically, let's call them core tenets in the industry, might not look the same as they do somewhere else.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. I was wondering if you had, like, what, because that it was such a, like, I would think about it. I'm trying to find out, like, okay, like, how? Like, is there anything you notice that's different in the Arabic industry that you think might influence things in a way that's different than the rest of the world?
Yeah, I had something. Yeah, for sure. It's so funny. I remember seeing you and I could see the gears
Yeah,
turning
I was like,
when I said that.
what?
So I think, right now everyone is talking about how songwriters are not valued in the US.
Hmm.
They don't get paid enough.
No.
Hala, as a songwriter, you're brought into the room. You're not like a producer where you get a fee. This
Yeah.
is in the West. You don't get paid for your songwriting. You don't get any part of the master.
Hmm.
You spend hours and hours and you get your publishing and you're on your way. I
Mm.
feel like for writers in the Middle East, they're valued a lot more than
Mm.
they are in the West.
That's interesting.
And I think that's great. I think we're on the right track in that aspect.
Why do you think that is? If you had to throw out a hypothesis, and which doesn't, I'm not necessarily asking
I
for
think
facts here.
the bigger question is why are songwriters not valued in the West? Because music would, well, actually, I can answer that. I think I have a theory, but I'd like to hear your opinion
I'll
first.
hear yours first, and then I can throw my
Okay.
2 cents. Yeah.
So I think the question, because a song will not exist without a songwriter, whether the songwriter is the artist
Mhm.
or whether it's just another songwriter who's just doing the songwriting. So why is it that in the West they're undervalued? But I think Western music, if you go back to Bach or Mozart, there were no lyrics.
Interesting.
The melody and the background
Is
music were the
king.
same. Yeah.
Whoa. Okay, that's a thought.
So I don't know if that we have that kind of history in our music because our melodic, I'm allowed to say this,
All right,
text and lyric comes first for us.
that's very
Even
true.
if you go back to, the Quran, من رتل القرآن,
Hmm.
Quran, the focus is the words.
Absolutely.
But in the West,
The focus is the music.
yeah.
That's a very interesting thought. I never thought of it that way. Wow.
Okay, your turn.
Anna, for me, I feel like the development of the music industry elsewhere kind of armed artists with the skills so that usually you come to the producer with a song. So
Barra.
even barra. So as opposed to the producer comes to you with a song. But I feel like
Like a country singer on a guitar.
exactly. So you've already written the song, you've already written the lyrics. I mean, this is just a theory because what you said
Yeah.
also makes a lot of sense. But I feel like one of the things that we're missing is that I don't think artists have honed their craft enough. Most of them, I mean, not, or at least enough of them, whereby you need a separate guy for the lyrics, a separate guy for the music, and then the artist is just singing it, as opposed to elsewhere, the artist is the writer and the lyricist and the melodicist, and then you have
Elsewhere or here?
no. So it may bottle off for the most part. The artist writes, and this is not a general rule at all. But it's more common practice for artists who are just coming up who can't afford to have this entire bunch of people
Yeah.
around them to go, okay, well, I've written a song and I've done the lyrics and I've done the production and so on and so forth, and then I'll go to a producer who kind of help me hone that.
Yeah.
F-
Valid
but
theory.
I'm not sure why that's the case, but it's because it's one of the things that I'm trying to push here recently is that, listen, I know you're the artist, I know you have to sing it, I know there are songwriters everywhere, I know there are producers everywhere, but if you don't have a lock on it, on what you're trying to deliver, it's going to be very difficult to deliver something that sounds like you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's why I'm always I like the way you work, because you're always there for everything. It's like, no, 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 it needs to look like that, it needs to sound like this. This is what the lyrics are.
You're giving a part of yourself
To the
to
people.
through your
Exactly.
music. You're telling your story and hoping people take it and make it their own and relate to it with their own personal stories.
A
That's-
hundred, 100%, and that's where I'm wondering about the writer thing that you're talking about, because one of the things that I feel like we still haven't completely figured out here is collaboration. Um, I'm learning more and more that you can't be good at everything, and real success is kind of trying to find a way to find the best people for every part of the process, while making sure you understand enough of that process in order to be able to engage with them constructively.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
for sure.
I feel like there is, because things are built here in a certain way where you say, okay, oh, you want my writing? Well, I need a flat fee. You want my production? Well, you need a flat fee. And suddenly it becomes very difficult to put this machine together, because very few people kind of see the long term. And I know publishing outside is hey, I won't pay you, and you're just in and out of the room. But songwriters are like, the guy who wrote for The Weeknd also write for Taylor Swift, to Upside Age. Suddenly you have like 800 songs in your catalog, because you're so willing to kind of back and forth on that. So they're taking a risk on you, but you're also taking a risk on them. And when it pays off, it pays off.
Yeah.
I'm wondering about, like, do you think that with the structure that we have today, that could like foster that kind of collaboration?
I don't think so.
You don't.
I don't think
Okay.
so. I think we live in a region where I think we feel, or I feel this, like I observe this, I feel like we feel like there aren't enough resources to go around.
Mm.
And something I noticed when I moved back was the competition in such a small pool.
Yeah.
Like people are competing with each other, and
It's like
if
10
we
of
were
us.
smart, we wouldn't be doing that.
Interesting.
It's like we're not each other's competition. We're trying to make our music heard globally.
Preach.
So I don't know. It goes back to just like the overall cultural, political, economic climate that we live in, that we're feeding into, that I feel like we need to kind of rise above. So I don't think I can't see it. I hope so. And I hope at the same time songwriters get what they deserve, but I think that's for me how I see it.
Shameless plug, not because this was planned at all, but this is why I love things like XP, because it also gives you the chance to.
And Rajeen.
Yeah, Rajeen was cool, because
Right before, shout out to Hiba, who's in the room right now, who
Olé.
helped that record come to life.
Yeah.
But right before Rajeen, I had a moment where I thought I was going to quit music altogether. And, I think my fans and my followers know that the Palestinian cause is near and dear to my heart, partially from a very close relationship I had with my grandfather, who was very active in that sphere. But yeah, so Rajeen and that collaborative, where everyone I'd ever worked with over the past 3 years in Jordan showed up to that set. And it just, Afroto actually said this. He's like, I feel like we're on a boat and people are just throwing aid onto this boat. And he's like, if this person wants to jump in, ahla wa sahla, like, This is how I see it. And
Yeah.
it was just such a beautiful energy, and it made me feel like, okay, I've refound my purpose, which had, always been there since Bueno.
Seriously.
The
Wow.
Palestinian culture was in that record
From
through
day
and
one.
through. Yeah, so I think we need more of that.
I mean, see, you've given me a lot to think about, which is very cool. I'm gonna go home and think more. And yesterday's publishing was enough. هلا now, okay, great.
I'm just giving it back, Nasir. You do the same for me.
What's on the docket for Dana next?
So, going back to the list of goals that I had
Mhm.
last year around XP, I had all of these songs that I wanted to release.
Mhm.
A lot of happy ones, very similar to some of the stuff that we worked on before.
Very cool.
So I want to release some of those.
Sweet.
I have a single, inshallah, that I'll put out beginning of next year called Bint Bladak.
Okay.
A couple performances coming up, one in Tunis in a couple days.
No way.
Yeah.
Okay.
With their national orchestra, which I'm really excited
Wait, for
about.
real?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm so scared.
Excited. No, I'm be excited. This is dope. This is dope because we've discussed this before. Come on, I remember this really was on the bucket list. What?
It was.
That's so
It
cool.
was
Okay.
performing with an orchestra.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. I was watching. Oh God, what was the band called? I'm not even gonna say because I'm gonna butcher it. But I watched a performance with an orchestra of this woman. I can't think of the band name right now.
It's okay.
She's sitting there with like a cigarette and a sweater and baggy jeans and performing with like a 50-piece orchestra. And I was like, oh, one day,
One
minus
day.
the cigarette and the baggy jeans. So alhamdulillah, yeah, I'm excited for that.
That's
Hopefully
so
it goes
exciting.
well.
Are
And
they
then-
doing your originals? Hey.
Mm.
Oh, yo, man, that's dope.
I know. I don't want to jinx it. We don't have our
inshallah,
flights
inshallah. Hey,
yet.
do
but
akhashab. Do
inshallah.
DJ cable.
Archer's gonna kill. I blab when I'm nervous.
It's okay.
This is
Do your
a
thing.
thing about me. Can we cut this out?
No, I keep it. It was dope. No, like these are the moments people want to see.
So we have that coming up. Bint Bladak, inshallah.
Cool.
My music has completely changed, but it's still the same. Like it still has that old. We used to watch these Kulthum telecasts, and it's like I want it to sound like this, but modern. So that, alhamdulillah, is still there.
Yeah.
But it's not as like upbeat
Yeah, I hear you.
as
As it used to be. Okay. Interesting. That's
something has changed, but it's still the same.
I'm really excited to
I think
hear
we've
what's
all
coming up.
changed this year.
I think so too.
Inshallah, an album, inshallah, a tour. But who knows? Like, I'm going to say this stuff and none of it is going to pan out. But maybe something else will. Who knows?
Yeah, it's funny. I feel like when one door closes, a window opens. But also, I feel like you've been brought to the spotlight in an unexpected way. But I think it's been people are very much embracing Dana Salah in general.
Alhamdulillah, I hope
for
so.
Any for that, but also the rest of your music. I think I love that we're seeing that translation, and it means your identity has been cooked really in such a cool way that people see it no matter what you're trying to do. Well, I think we're all excited to see what the next project is.
Thank you.
If the orchestra performance isn't televised, I will hunt down the person
Should be.
responsible. I'm looking at you, Hiba.
It will be, inshallah. Inshallah, inshallah. And
yeah.
I'm excited to perform there. I actually went there over the summer. And one thing that I love that happened this year is, Qatar brought me out. Tunis is bringing me out. Feel like online, even and in person, I've built this amazing community of people
Beautiful.
who have the same values and the same beliefs and support the cause. The London show, was therapeutic for all of us. We were all mourning together. It was the same weekend as a massive protest.
Yeah.
But alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. And on that beautiful note, I think we will wrap up. Dana, it's been awesome. And yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers, guys. Yeah.